Sam Bankman-Fried could face up to 115 years in prison. Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder and former CEO of the bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX, is facing an 8-count federal indictment. If convicted and given the maximum sentence, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. A former assistant U.S. attorney who prosecuted white-collar crime predicts a 10-year sentence, if not significantly more. But he said he meant well and can clear all of this up if he could only get access to his frozen accounts. Amazing. Crypto still might lead to him never having to work again. He had a group chat with his girlfriend who ran his other company called Wire Fraud FFSLMFAO. Jesus. He must have stolen rich people's money, instead of just normal people's money. Lucky for him he's still young. I'm so tired of seeing this guy's stupid head in countless thumbnails for the last month. He forgot to say it wasn't financial advice on Twitter. Good. Fuck this guy. Well, there goes that public congressional hearing. I thought Elizabeth Holmes was an insane fraud. Full reality distortion field. So satisfying to see her convicted. This guy is the end-all force field generator of reality distortion. Weapons-grade scammer with an ego the size of a fucking Death Star. That's no moon. That's his fucking inflated ego. Fuck SBF. Armed protesters gather outside San Antonio's Aztec Theater during Christmas-themed drag show. Several dozen demonstrators gathered outside the Aztec Theater in downtown San Antonio on Tuesday night. Some were there to condemn the holiday-themed drag show scheduled to take place inside. Some shouldered weapons. Alongside them were armed San Antonio police officers, eyeing both sides as the crowds grew. The Texas-based far-right extremist group This Is Texas Freedom Force led the demonstration. TPR estimated the LGBTQ side numbered more than 100. Far-right group consisted of a few dozen people, and they stood mostly quietly on their side of the street. As a queer person who loves drag, it's great to see my community standing up against these hateful people. Running list of actual sexual deviants. 900 plus and counting. Oh, and they are Republicans. Time to start having armed protesters outside of these people's churches. Imagine being such a pussy you're afraid of dudes in dresses. I can see more and more how the Holocaust happened. As a Jew, it seems they're doing the same thing to the LGBTQ community. A pic of counter-protesters posted in our liberal gun owners, and I love how they look like parents who are sick of someone's bullshit. I want to know how you sort the legalese when someone starts shooting? If both sides have guns and one person shoots, is everyone okay to defend themselves? How does this not turn into an absolute massacre? It's just going to take one. Musk shakes up Twitter's legal team as he looks to cut more costs. Twitter has stopped paying rent on offices and is considering not paying severance packages to former employees, among other measures. Elon Musk appears to be gearing up for legal battles at Twitter. Twitter has not paid rent for its San Francisco headquarters or any of its global offices for weeks. The company has also refused to pay a $197,725 bill for private charter flights made the week of Mr. Musk's takeover. So he doesn't want people to work from home, and he also doesn't want to pay rent for offices? How's that gonna play out? Trump sold pay no one for anything because the court battles are cheapest at work. Pretty sure what I've just read is illegal. They also fired the tax team, so you can bet Twitter isn't paying taxes anywhere either. When you're actively operating in 50-plus countries, you can't fuck this stuff up. The die-hard capitalist turns out to be a freeloader. Imagine my surprise. Who could have guessed he'd waffle on the severance packages? Rolling eyes face. Is his new business strategy? What a brilliant business mind. Sounds like he is just going to end up accruing a bunch of legal costs while still having to pay rent and severance. It is going to be real hard achieving any cost cutting when he's dragged to court for decades. My God, whatever business sense this guy had at any point is long gone. States challenge Biden to lower drug prices by allowing imports from Canada. Biden administration is facing mounting pressure from states to let them import medicine from Canada. Colorado on December 5 became at least the fourth state to seek federal permission to use the strategy. President Biden has endorsed the approach, but his administration has yet to greenlight a state plan. Americans pay among the highest prices in the world for brand-name pharmaceuticals. They're never going to do this. Drug companies lobby hard to keep this cash cow going. Mighty US could coral their drug companies and force a bargain. Instead of getting Canada to do that for you, then buying the windfall. Canada is in effect now bargaining on behalf of citizens from both countries. Why not try what California is trying with insulin and manufacture them, which could then become exportable like arms sales? Importing them from another country that gets lower pricing because Canada negotiates better and has a nationalized healthcare system is kind of embarrassing for the US. Don't get me wrong. I'd much rather see some kind of working nationalized healthcare in the US, but when life gives you lemons, Musk urged his fans to back GOP in midterms then didn't vote. Elon Musk urged his Twitter followers to vote Republican in the 2022 midterms. But state records show he did not vote in the election. The billionaire is registered to vote in Cameron County, Texas, where his rocket company SpaceX has a launch base and development site. He did vote during a special election in June, records show, and also previously cast an absentee ballot in the 2020 elections. Bots don't vote. Then, in June, Musk announced that he had voted for Republican Moira Flores in the special election in Texas' 34th Congressional District. Rep. Flores lost her midterm election last month, which Elon did not vote in, and tweeted, "The red wave did not happen. Republicans and independents stayed home. Do not complain about the results if you did not do your part." Elon is such a twit. Based on our records, we do not have any indication that Mr. Musk participated in the November 2022 election in Cameron County, the county's election administrator told the Daily Beast. Tech Twitter suspends account dedicated to tracking Elon Musk's private jet. The account, @ElonJet, was run by Florida college student Jack Sweeney. It tracked Musk's plane's location using publicly available flight data. Sweeney also runs accounts dedicated to tracking the private flights of other public figures like Bill Gates, former President Donald Trump, and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Musk did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Literally public knowledge, Musk is the owner of a Gulfstream G650ER private jet with registration N628TS. Follow it on Flight Radar 24 or ADSP Exchange. It's registered to Falcon Landing LLC and is currently in Austin, TX, on the ground at Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Would it be that difficult to put that same bot on Mastodon? Did you ban the account tracking your plane? Yes. What did it cost you? I'm no longer the richest man in the world. My commitment to free speech extends even to not banning the account following my plane, even though that is a direct personal safety risk. Elon Musk, November 6. It took only slightly more than a month for him to abandon this promise. It's like watching a professional speedrun in ruining a reputation. He advocates free speech, unless it's something he doesn't like. So this was how much shit and distraction he thought necessary before slipping this one in. Even needed to let Trump back on before going here. Texas Attorney General's office sought state data on transgender Texans. The Texas Department of Public Safety received a sweeping request from Attorney General Ken Paxton. He wanted a list of individuals who had changed their gender on their driver's license during the past 2 years. After more than 16,000 such instances were identified, a manual search would be needed to determine the reason. Ken Paxton has been under felony indictment since 2015 and has yet to see trial. The Texas crime syndicate is the primary reason I left Texas, and I never intend to go back. Screw these people. I read the article, and I'm glad the data wasn't turned over. It turns out that there was no reason for them to request it. They wanted it, just because. I'm sure it would have been leaked to some far-right group at some point. The first step is identification. Isn't this the party of keeping out of people's lives? People warned about this. Trans communities were very aware this was the next step in this whole anti-trans process that has been going on, and advocates have been saying they were gonna try and do this. No paywall. Us gays had a pink try, not gonna lee BTW. TikTok would be banned from US for good under bipartisan bill. In September, President Joe Biden announced that TikTok would remain accessible in the US once a deal could be worked out to assuage national security concerns. Senator Marco Rubio and Congressman Mike Gallagher have teamed up with Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy to introduce new bipartisan legislation. The legislation specifically names TikTok and owner ByteDance as existing national security threats. Next, the fact that China has a different version with built-in safety features is all we need to know about this app. Headed to clarify, because people keep thinking I'm talking about the censorship. The safety feature I like that they did was the time limit for children. It helps make it less addicting. So, how likely is this to pass? To all the people concerned about viewing habits and attention spans, you do realize Instagram and YouTube are trying to recreate TikTok on their own platforms? All this will do is generate a huge influx of the same content on there. Why not ban every company from doing what TikTok is doing, and state what those illegal actions are? The Anti-Social CCP Act is designed to block and prohibit all transactions by social media companies controlled or influenced by countries of concern. I like the vague phrasing proposed by Republicans. It's amazing what moral panics can cause. The only difference between this app and all the other data suckers we welcome into our home is it's owned by a Chinese company. U.S. Senator Warren says crypto industry should follow money laundering rules. Lawmakers are generally in agreement that crypto firms should have greater regulation. But there are divergent views on how the industry should be regulated. Critics say the crypto world is riddled with fraud and misconduct, but proponents say the industry has simply suffered from a lack of regulation. U.S. prosecutors on Tuesday charged FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried with money laundering and fraud. That someone has to say this is ridiculous. Isn't money laundering the whole reason crypto exists? I'm happy Warren stands up for consumers, but SBF ran a pyramid Ponzi scheme, as I understand it. He didn't launder money, he just took it and bought some real estate. Besides that, it's dead easy to trace transfers through the blockchain. Which is why real money laundering operations still prefer cash. I'm not sure why we can't just deem crypto to fall under existing foreign currency regulatory frameworks. From what I can tell, and recent events back me up on this, crypto shouldn't be a thing. Remember when all the crypto brothers were like crypto is the future? You just can't understand. SBF is a genius. Fire Festival is going to be lit. At the very least, whatever rules apply to foreign exchange should also apply to cryptocurrencies. People should follow laws. More at 11. This article is low-hanging fruit. Mark Meadows leaked texts destroy the Trump Loan Act narrative. Leak of text exchanges between Mark Meadows, Trump's former chief of staff, and dozens of Republican lawmakers highlights how that narrative lets the GOP off too easily. The texts, published by Talking Points Memo, show Trump wasn't a lone actor, but something closer to a nerve center of anti-democratic activity. It was obvious to anyone watching Jan 6 happen in real time that there were not just accomplices close to Donald Trump but also inside help at all levels. This is how the House Select Committee got nearly full cooperation from people hoping to clear their own name. 147 Republicans voted to overturn election results after being subjected to a Capitol riot, including the Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. The largest number of refusals since Abe Lincoln's inauguration. The lone actor narrative was never a reality, and there is plenty of evidence before the leaked texts came out. They're now working on the man. It's a crazy coincidence that all these lone actors were independently in the same political party, and many of them were acting completely on their own, actual members of Congress at the time, as we've only just discovered. It works hand in hand with the theory that hundreds of people attacked Congress with our help and we may have helped orchestrate a coup attempt, but you can't prove we knew what we were doing and wanted to do it.